Nice to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back to our den, the Warriors' Den.
As usual, every Thursday.
We have a big week this week.
Yes.
There's a lot to cover. We have a lot of ground we're going to cover.
A lot of paper on the table right now.
And more under
We're
the table.
so prepared.
We are prepared. We are prepared. So FYI, here's what we're going to talk about on the show today, and then we'll dive into it. So as usual, we'll start with our news of the week, where crucial info is told to you up at the top. We're going to have Bio back here to talk about the round of the faction war that just ended, which was round 3. And she's got some cool stuff. And we actually, we usually do a Q&A. We actually grabbed some faction war specific questions from Reddit and elsewhere to discuss. So we'll discuss that with her. Then we're going to do a big old patch notes section.
Yes.
So as you know, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead a little. Today there was a live update. Some of you might have already seen those notes. If not, we'll go over those quick. But also, our next title update, 1.09, we'll talk about those patch notes today.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a little bit. Then we'll do a short Q&A with these guys, and then our community corner videos again, and then we're going to run away and see what's going on with our public test that's running right now. So I'll hand it over.
So yes, good transition, Eric. The public test is available right now. It's on
Live.
PC, it's on Uplay and Steam. So if you want to join, it's pretty easy. You just have to go on your games library, whether it's on Uplay and Steam. You will find a public test version of For Honor in your games library. You download it, you can join. And yes, actually, it's live right now. But don't forget that it's a work in progress, guys.
Yes.
There's a few things that we're aware of. There's a few known issues as well regarding different things, like there's some UI glitches that you need to be aware of. There's some things regarding AFK that you also need to be aware of. And Damien here, I think you have a few points to talk about, a few known issues that we're aware of.
Yeah, we will post them, I think, during the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So share them with you guys.
And maybe one last thing before you go, Damien. If you have any feedback, because that's the reason why we do this test, that's the purpose of this test, is to get your feedback. The best place to do it is it's on the forums. So I'm sure our buddy Fred on the chat can link to the public test forum. There's a dedicated section about it.
Yep.
And don't hesitate. Throw your feedback in there. That's the purpose of this test. We want to hear from you. We want to hear if you have any issues, because then after that we will improve this version, and we'll do more of these tests in the future.
And to be clear, for people that maybe participated before For Honor was out, we did a bunch of live periods.
Oh, yes.
Some of those, we did an alpha, we did a beta. Those were kind of more polished, like, get the word out, get a lot of people playing. But we also did tech tests, and those tech tests were really, really meant to test something. And that's what the idea of this public test is really meant to test this feature. It's not the most polished thing in the world, because we want to test it a little early so we can actually fix things that you find that aren't working. So that is my caveat. This is not a big marketing thing. This is, we want you guys to help us make this a great feature.
Absolutely. We still have this collaborative philosophy that we're doing. We want to improve the game with you guys. So that's the reason why. Damien, if you want to talk a little bit about
one
a few
of
issues that we already know.
The first bug that you will see by joining the public test is that because we put the faction war in off season, it's keeping everything and it's deciding who wins, basically. So right now, and that's what Bio will speak about. Right now, the knights have two rounds and the samurai have one. So it means that if we cut the faction war, if we stop it right now, the knight would win. So, and that's what is happening in the TTS, because we just disabled the faction war. So the faction war say, oh, end of season, and it's granting the rewards to everyone. So now the knights in the TTS are winning the faction war.
Indeed.
So they get in advance the season 2 rewards. This is only in the public test. So of course, you won't have those rewards in the normal game. You will need to wait for the end of the season. And the knights need to win the end of the
if they really want
the real season, the live season, if they want to get those rewards that they can right now play with on the public test.
So a little bit of a spoiler.
So that's what is happening. It's a little bit of spoiler. It's a bug we haven't catched before opening the thing, but yeah. So now you know in advance what will be the rewards for the faction war. So maybe a good reason to fight for the win.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we'll see if it motivates them.
season. Yeah. So some other ones, for example, it's a bug I experienced myself this morning because I did had time to do a tournament this morning.
Okay.
I failed during the final.
But you made it to the final.
But
That's
I
pretty
made
good.
it to the final. I got destroyed on the final. And for me, at least, I don't receive any rewards during end matches. That's not supposed to be. It won't be like that. But we have a bug right now, so that sometimes you don't get any rewards. So no steal, no loot, no XP at the end of a match. It's not as designed, of course. It's one of the known issues. Then we have some flow-related non-issues. So sometimes you are just blocked in the tournament. You need to reboot the title basically to get away with it. You're not able to play the other matches. We have another one. We have some bugs also on the ranking because that public test, we're testing the tournament feature and the ranking feature. And so sometimes the ranking penalty received, you just see a percentage, you don't see the real value. So we have some UI glitches, as you were saying. Sometimes we have a black screen that appears after a match, things like that. So basically, we'll share the whole list with you guys, so that you're aware of them. If you find new bugs that are not on the list, please send those to us. That's why we do it, the public test. And also send us quality feedbacks, like what you dislike, and why, etc.
And try to do as much of it on the public test forums that hopefully Fred Carmichael's linking you to right now. That's where we're going to be looking. I know a lot of you will do it on Reddit, and we'll try to grab as much as we can there, but we're really going to be looking to get it from the funnel on the public test forums.
And in fact, there is you will start seeing on the public test some of the things we will speak about for the next patch, because some of the next patch content is already in the public test, but sometimes it's bugged. Right. So for example, the skill display on the face-off screen, we will explain it in a few minutes. That one is bugged, doesn't work in the public test. So
yeah, as far as I understand it, so we've talked about our testing process before. So when we put together the public test build, it was on kind of the first candidate of our next title update.
Yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't the final version of the title update. So you'll see some of the new stuff already, which is kind of cool, but it's not final. It might be a little buggy.
Exactly.
So that's that.
Exactly.
The other thing I did want to mention about the public test, also about the forums, we put together a big FAQ.
Yes.
Because I've already seen a lot of the questions on Reddit, and a lot of them are answered on the FAQ. Again, that's on the forums. Like one in particular was about your player progress.
Yeah.
The data that we pulled for all of your profiles was on June 15th. So if you've done something in the last couple of weeks, you're not going to see it on the public test, but that's how it is. And also, as you hopefully know, you're not going to carry over your progress that you do in the public test back to your main profile. This is all a test environment.
Yeah, but as you said, your actual progress from the live version is from June 15 is
Exactly.
on the public test.
Yes. Cool. So hit the FAQ if you have questions. We tried to answer as many as we can add to it too if we see more. Yes.
Yes, this is a very good one.
Question, Pascal. What a great director.
Yeah. From Daddy J Flex Nuts.
Daddy G Flex Nuts.
Yeah, so it's something we wanted to say also that is part of the non-issue is that yes, the emblems for the teams that you see in the public test are not the ones made by the community.
Not yet.
We haven't imported them yet.
They'll be in the real...
They will be in the real live version. Yeah. At least you can see what we've created.
Yes.
And you can see how
decide if yours are cooler.
How cooler it is, the ones you've made.
So don't be hurt, Daddy G Flex Nuts.
Yeah.
Don't flex.
Worry,
don't flex.
It will be in.
Yes. Good question, though.
Sure.
Thanks for flagging that. So while we have you, Damien, last week, I believe.
Yeah.
You did an update to matchmaking reputation?
Yeah, so right now we changed a bit our approach for update for matchmaking. We update the matchmaking basically, and we see if it works or not, and then we speak about it. Because we had some surprises on matchmaking updates recently, and now we want to see how things are rolling before speaking about it. So we made live last week the reputation score in matchmaking, the thing we're talking about since month. So now we use the reputation score in matchmaking and not only your skill. So what is the reputation score? The reputation score is the addition of all the reputation levels you've reached
Tell
with
these
all
guys.
your heroes.
Yeah.
It's that camera.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking into
The single shot.
and so and in fact how it works in backend, it's like we add all the levels of all your heroes, so it's a bit more granular than the reputation score, but we display only the reputation score, but what you use is the addition of all the levels of all your heroes, and we matchmake you on that also. This is mostly useful for newcomers because they will be matchmake with other newcomers. Where the skill doesn't really matter because you don't have a good skill yet, because we don't know what's your skill yet. But it will also be used for everyone. So basically, we're trying to find everybody that has the same reputation score as you in a range. So it's a range of 40 hero levels. And based on that, then we look at the skill.
So just as a super basic example, if I have 4 characters that are rep 1, I have a rep 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And we will look for other players that have a rep 4, 5, or 3. And we look at the skill at the same time, and then we relax. We don't care about the reputation score anymore, and we focus on the skill.
Cool.
Basically, what we've noticed that the skill is the most valuable parameter when you've played a lot. The reputation score doesn't really matter. In the end, but for newcomers, it's the reputation score that matters the most. So we use both of best worlds right now in the matchmaking. Tell us what you think about it, if you think it works, if you think it improves your experience.
Or tell your friends who haven't played yet.
If you have friends that come into the game, what's their experience,
Yes.
etc. We'd like to know about it.
Yes, I have an assumption that a lot of the people watching right now are pretty high level. So yeah, tell your friends if they were a little worried about jumping into the matchmaking, it should be a little easier on them now.
Yeah, so that's a big update. Super happy to have it in. And the join in progress in Enflow, we're still monitoring it. You know, we reactivated it and we deactivated the team shuffling to see if the bugs was related to that. The bug is related to that. We don't have the bug anymore without the team shuffling on. So it's a confirmation of what we thought. For the moment, we plan to leave it without team shuffling, but with join in progress in Enflow. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you prefer the other way around, and tell us also if you have a better experience overall, if you're doing more rematches, or if in the end everybody quits, so it doesn't change anything. Because we know it might bring some edge cases, some other bugs where people try to join a session, but people left, so the session is not alive anymore, etc. So we have some edge cases. We think it's worth it to keep it with the edge cases, but tell us what you think. If you share that assumption with us or not, we can deactivate it if people think it's worse as it is right now.
While we have the camera on you, can you look into it and say data?
Data.
Say it again, Damien.
Data.
While looking through my soul.
I'm going to see that in my nightmares.
Yeah. And I wanted to use that word on that
great.
show. I don't know when, but I will use it again.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
So a question from Puke Brain. Good
Puke
question.
Brain.
So right now we don't plan to separate rank and tournament. It goes together. That's also one of the things we test. It has been designed like that. So you need to go through So the question was, will there be a 1v1 ranked mode without any type of tournament format?
Right.
For the moment, no. It's something we might be able to do in the future, but for the moment it goes together. It has been designed together. So you need to go to play tournaments to be ranked with 1v1.
Cool.
Something else that we did this morning, we of course we released the public test, but also we did an update. We did a live update this morning at 8 a.m. I think, so pretty early. You will find the details on the forums, on Reddit as well. It's I mean, it's pretty much about the Centurion.
Yes,
and I think Roman will go back on it during the show.
We'll go a little bit later. We'll talk a little bit more about what did we change, but we changed a few things about the jab, about the throw, about heavy attacks, a lot of different little things that we tweaked on the Centurion. So make sure to stay tuned until
Big Daddy Roman.
Big Daddy Roman's
So he
part
will come
coming
on
up
the show.
next.
Yes, he's here. Spoilers. We mentioned
Speaking
earlier.
of updates.
Yes. So title update 1.09. We are going to talk through the notes of it today. So here's the deal with that. As one of the reasons we want to talk about it today is because, as Damien mentioned, in the public test build, you'll see a lot of those changes in there. So it would be crazy to not let you know what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's why we're talking through those today. So the schedule for this, it's planned for July 13th release, so 2 weeks from today, I think. Yes, it's Thursday. July 13th, console and PC. But there's a tiny chance, a fraction of a chance that we could do PC next week if our testing goes really smoothly. So plan on the 13th.
Yeah.
If we're very happy, very lucky, we might do PC next week. But anyway, that's why we want to do the notes this week, so you know what's coming up. It's big. This is double-sided.
yes.
A lot of notes. So get hype. Get hype for that.
Also this weekend, there's new content coming. There's a lot this week, guys. Really, there's an event order called Dominion Executioner. Again, it will be released tomorrow at 2 p.m. And it's until next Monday on July 3rd. And the goal is to perform as a community as many executions as you can in Dominion matches in PvP. And the reward is 2,000 steel. So.
I'm very thirsty.
You were reading through my soul, Eric, I think. But yeah, don't execute me yet. But there's an event order coming this weekend.
And there was some discussion, right? Like, do we do an event order while we're also doing the public test?
Yeah.
But I think, first of all, public test is PC only.
Exactly.
So we got a lot of console people.
And we know people are waiting for that event order to get their 2,000 steel. It matters, so we don't want it to postpone it. So
cool.
I advise PC player to maybe do some matches on the live version within the weekend and then go back to the public test.
Get yourself in on that steal.
But not only that, Eric, what else do we have in terms of business?
As you know, weekly content rolls on, and this week we have new combat. That was good. That was very loud. new combat emotes, one for each hero, 7,000 steel each, and we've got a video of that right now.
So we're back, and we're back with the Bio Jade.
Hi, everyone.
How are you, Bio?
Bio Jade.
Bio Jade in English. Looks
For my Americans out there. Probably
Bio
the best
is,
name at Ubisoft, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Bio, again, is a lead game designer focusing on faction war, actually, and player
Among other
engagement and things
things,
like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, a lot of different things. She's also a cool shoes collector, as it was noticed last time. So we had the end of a round this week with the faction war. It was pretty tight, actually.
Yeah.
But all factions conquered 23 territories, so it was pretty exciting.
Well, at the end of it, with the tiebreaker of the war assets, it's actually 24 for knights, 22 for Vikings, and 23 for samurais.
Ooh, so close.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's really, really close. And it's crazy because that round, the samurai actually won all of the territories they could have won. They went from 16 to 23, so they do the best they could. But the best thing with that round is really the last territory update. was all about strategy.
Ooh.
So all the samurai, they were very offensive. They dispatched 66% of their assets in attack, which was the only thing to do because they had so few territories. But the knights were extremely clever because they defended with 67% of their assets.
Really?
They really defended all those territories. So they went to 30, from 30 to 24, which is still losing a few territories, but it's really hard. The more territories you have, the harder it is to actually defend them.
Just like in real life.
Just like in real life, because you have to spread all your war assets thinner.
Did you see, Bio, sorry to interrupt, but did you see any changes since we introduced new territories in the last season in terms of, conquering new territories and faction war in general, or?
Did it change any
Well,
of the dynamic?
of course, as soon as a front is on the territories where there's a bit more of it, because it's all about the fronts, basically. So if your front is where you have more territories to defend, because we added 3 of them, it's going to be harder to defend. So we made actually the faction war a bit more harder to defend as long as the front is there, closer to your capital. So if you go to a capital, it's going to be harder for the person that attacks to actually be able to get in, because when you're being pushed against the wall in your capital, you can actually deploy your war assets, even though you deploy them manually or not, they will be more concentrated. So it changes the way that the people can actually defend their territories easier, and it's harder to actually go up to the capital of the other factions.
All right, cool.
So you sort of said it real quickly, but did you say, so it was actually a tiebreaker that what decided it?
The amount of war assets at the end broke it so that the knight were 24.
So because they all had the same amount of territories, then it goes to a tiebreaker?
No, actually, at the end, it didn't go to a
Oh,
tiebreaker.
it didn't? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I misunderstood.
Because
My bad.
we broke the war assets at the end, and it was 24 for the knights.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It was really, really close, though.
Come on, Vikings. What's going on this season,
Yeah.
guys? Come
Yeah, if we want to win the faction war this season and get the rewards, you can see in the public test.
on. Yes, a little preview.
I really like the emblem outline, by the way. I would like to have it,
Yeah.
so we need to win the 3 next rounds.
Still possible.
It's possible.
Still possible.
Gotta get up of our asses and play like Vikings and win.
Cool. So what else did you see going on?
Well, I saw a lot of activity in the Knight faction. It's very cool to see how they were dedicated this round. Actually, you can see they played more and more on while the more the round goes, the more the knight were implicated. So they dispatch way more war assets by the end of the round. So they really know when it matters to actually be active and to know when to coordinate themselves. So really what comes through this season is the implication of the Knight faction and how they really do strategically deploy their war assets. It makes a very big difference. At the same time as last one, lots of manual deployment and lots of focus on defense. It really helps when they have a lot of territories. So really it's crystallizing about the fact that the more you're strategic about, do I defend, do I attack, I have to deploy manually, I have to deploy on the same front that I play, it makes a difference.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you were actually contacted, right?
Yes.
By a group, am I getting the group name right? The Knight Organization of the Holy Sepulchre.
Oh,
Reached out to Bio.
Intense.
It's very intense. Very intense.
I'd like to be a
They're
member of that.
well
I don't know if we
organized.
could even qualify.
Yeah,
It sounds
probably
very
not.
intense.
Well, I'm not a knight, so
That's true. We're all
they told me if I switch, I could, but I won't.
So first off, what's their story? What's their deal?
Well, they are an organization and they try to actually coordinate and find the best places to attack. They do some tournaments. They have squads. They're really well
That's
organized.
awesome.
Yeah, they have tacticians telling them, okay, let's focus on that territory, that territory.
I think they have groups per time zone or something
Yes,
like
they have
that.
3
Oh.
groups per
Yeah.
time zone.
Yeah,
So
all
it's
around the clock.
really something. It's really
Wow.
something. It's great. It's great to see people involved like that. And I was like, holy.
Yeah.
So I had to take their questions here to the Warriors then because they're very specific and good questions.
So,
actually.
like I mentioned, we are going to do a little Q&A based on Faction Wars from these folks, and actually from someone else in a minute. So, okay, their first question. How are zones divided between the dual Dominion deathmatch fronts? It often seems to be attempting to, a split between the Knights Samurai, Knights Vikings, Vikings Samurai fronts, but it often deviates.
So it's all about where the territories of two factions touch each other. So that's what we call the fronts. And the game modes that are associated to it rotate every territory updates. The reason for us to rotate them is because some players prefer one on the other, and we wanted to make sure that they could play a mode that they like and still have the bonus of deploying on the same front that they play.
This makes sense.
To note though, since your raw assets are defined by mainly your performance in the game and also the time of the mode, so the longer you play in a game, the more raw assets you actually gain, it doesn't change much in reality, except your personal preference, because of course a game of Duel is shorter, but you get less war asset.
Right.
A game of Dominion is longer, you gain more war asset.
Okay, cool.
And who owns which territory also defines the props in the map. You know, it's like if you're playing on so let's say you're playing on a territory that is owned by the samurai and attacked by the knights, you will see props of the samurai and
Right.
that's what defines also the soldiers in Dominion. So we have all small rules like that
Right.
behind that make the whole scenery.
Right.
So your
Like the
the
set
faction
dressing.
war is reflected inside the map basically.
Cool. Their second question, how are the default manual deploy locations, i.e. I select manually deploy, but I don't move the joystick? How are they selected for each front? Would it be possible to have some information regarding the selection of these default manual deploy zones?
Well, it's going to be a very boring answer. It's just the first one in the list.
Yeah.
So,
So it's the front you're in, basically playing in, and
Yeah.
then it's the first one.
Okay, cool.
exciting.
Now, what about that second question, though? Would it be possible to? Oh, sorry, I misread it. Never mind.
I could give more information about the list, but
No,
it's
no,
just
no, that's
a
good.
list of territories.
I think we'll actually get into it in the other questions. The
Yep.
thing that I thought
I think
it
you
was.
can see the list in the playlist parameters
Yes, you
in
can see
details, so you can see the order.
So similarly, a user on Reddit named Steckman or Steckman, I don't know, actually wrote a really nice detailed post. Ideas, feedback, criticism, whatever, all of those things in a big post about the faction war.
Yeah.
And I sent it directly to Bio. What do you think about this? And she immediately said, let's talk about it on the stream. So that's cool. So we have a big list of his questions and even a bunch of his ideas here. And I think there are ideas from the comments in that thread as well. So players continually find themselves facing off against players of their own faction. So win or lose, the same amount of war assets will be deployed for your faction, taking even more agency away from players.
So the important part here is to understand that the war assets you gain, yes, are defined by the time in the game mode that you play, but most importantly with your position in the match. So if you win, it doesn't change anything, because if you are first with the best score, the score being your renown, well, you will gain more assets. So it's actually with all the players in the map. So if you play very well, you will gain more assets than everybody else. So if your faction, even though you have Vikings in your team and the enemy team, it doesn't change anything as long as the Vikings play well. They're
Okay.
gonna get more assets. So it's all about being the
Being
best
good.
players.
I like it. Okay, this next question. There are far too many players with equal... Oh,
Just for the faction match.
Yes.
So the idea of the faction match, it's a good idea. It's an idea we had. It's something we wanted to do.
That one
but
is later then.
no, it wasn't in. Okay, it's later. I haven't said anything.
Here.
Okay.
skipping ahead. There are far too
really
many...
want to talk
I
about
need
this
to have
one.
the paper. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
There are far too many players with equal input to feel like anyone is making a difference. There isn't even a number tally so players can see the amount of war assets each faction holds. Instead, it's just an unrelenting, oppressive, and depressing 49%.
Yeah, so we are. Sounds to be a big deal for you. That 49%.
I feel bad for this guy.
Sorry. So yes, we are currently working on a refactor of the faction war, the way it's represented, to make sure that you can actually see where territories are cherry picking and easier to get. So it's like in Risk, you know, if you have 10 units on one territory and 10 on another one, it would be 50-50. But you know that if you put a few more armies there, it's not going to change much. But if there's one, and you put 2, 3, you know it's going to be a big deal.
Right.
So this is what we're liking right now. So we're working on this. I've been designing it for a while, and it's a big refactor. It counts changing the way we see the world map and how we see the war assets more than the amounts you actually get. So it's gonna come, but it's not really soon because it's very big work for us.
Right.
And we want to do it right so that people can understand
Yeah.
and strategize way better.
Yeah, we identified that problem pretty quickly, that, that displaying percentage wasn't the best way to do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's coming
So he's right.
someday.
He's right.
All right, now he had a bunch of ideas, which I think you wanted to respond to. So idea number 1, separate common matches from faction war matches. Perhaps territories will only be affected by ranked matches. The higher the rank, the more war assets you get.
Gonna give it to you since you want to answer that one so bad.
This was the one that you wanted.
Yeah, that's the one I was answering, so my mistake. The faction war matches is a really good idea. It's something we wanted to do. The problematic is multiple. First, it means that it's becoming a matchmaking parameter. So I'm not only looking for player of my skill, player of my reputation now. Now I need to find player of my faction, and I need to not look for opponents that are of my faction.
Right.
So it may divide our player base in a separate pool.
It will put a huge burden on matchmaking, and it will lower the quality of your match in the end. Because you will be with Samurai against Vikings, but the skills will be all random and the progression also. So in the end, we don't think it was the best call to do it. It's still something we haven't closed the door on that idea, but priority-wise for the matchmaking, we want to focus on the match quality, which is skill and progression first. And also another huge one is that we're trying to matchmake with people that are near you so that you have a better ping and better connectivity. So basically it's putting too much constraint. We haven't dropped the idea, but I think it's an idea we'll revisit later on when everything else is working on that aspect. And there was another side of that you want to answer, maybe?
Yeah, it's also about playing with your friends. We made a call earlier that we want to allow player to play with somebody that is not in the same faction as them in the same party. So we don't want to play to people that want to play with their friends to say, oh, we won't have the bonus because we are not in the same faction. And to have to take that decision between playing with your friends of having bonuses in the faction war, playing with your friends should always come first because it's so cool to play in a team. So as also for people not to have to make that choice between their friends or their faction, it's too heartbreaking. I don't want to put them in that situation. I don't want to break friendships.
No. Cool. Just a couple more. Pascal, calm down.
Maybe without going into details.
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
Idea number 2, name the territories. Let us fight over Iron Keep Pass, or Great Mire West, or Great Mire East, etc.
It's a very good idea. It's something that we're exploring in the refactor.
It's part of the UI refactor we want to do. So we have the same idea.
Great idea, Steckman. Idea number 3, give war asset bonuses for playing as characters from your faction. I think this is the easiest and most realistic one to implement. Is that true?
Very fast. What we want to do is put the emphasis on gameplay first. So we don't want to have players who have to choose between gameplay or the faction war. So we put gameplay first. So we say that you can play everyone you want and not have to make that choice between the faction war and having a bonus or play the hero that you actually want to play.
So it's not an idea we consider for the moment.
Sorry, Steckman. Idea number 4, and this is the last one, and we'll move on. I know some of you are not interested in the faction war stuff, but you know what? You're not everybody. Some people do care. Idea number 4, assign each territory or group of territories a bonus.
So this one is very big. Actually, what we want to make sure is that the people that don't care about the faction war are not too affected by it. But we're interested in the idea, exploring it in our refactor, but it's very big. So
Cool. Great. Thank you as always, Beal. We'll have you back in 2 more weeks. And I think we're going to exit on our Watch the War video series that's done by the UB blog folks. So let's dive into Watch the War, and thank you again.
Thank you very much, Bio.
Season 2 of the For Honor faction war is in full swing, as the Knights and the Samurai have taken a round apiece, heading into this, the 3rd of 5 rounds. Can the Vikings rekindle the fire that led them to victory last season? Or has the cold of Valkenheim seeped into their bones, their blades, and their hearts? Let's see who steals their steel to seal victory in round 3. I'm your host, Chris Waters. Welcome to Watch the War. There was a sense of deja vu early this round as the Knight faction struggled out of the gate, falling to just 14 territories by turn 5. But they reasserted control of their realm and pushed into Samurai territory, gaining 11 territories in just 3 turns. And it was wardens like Poyopoke that made it happen. Faced with a low health 1v2, Poyo pulls out the double kill, even as his team falls into breaking, and he's the only one left standing. His team recovers, but he faces another 1v2 against the remaining 2 enemies. 2 enemies are great for filling that revenge meter though, and no sooner does Poyopoke fill up on revenge than he unleashes it to snuff out the shinobi. The last opponent didn't even stand a chance because by that time, Poyo was on fire! In the video game basketball sense, and then in the literal sense. The Vikings showed some life early in turn 9, winning the Battle of the Isolated Territories by keeping theirs and snatching 3 away from their enemies through smart deployment of war assets. Sometimes being smart about your position can tip the scales, as it did for Frostwolf 222, when he put 3 enemies into the bin with his Valkyrie skills. He finished off the 4th one shortly after, and you just know you're doing a good job when even the trees are frickin' stoked. Oh, damn. In turn 20, the Knights' territory count spiked to its highest level thus far, as they vied for dominance with the Samurai, squeezing the Vikings back to their lands in the north. Many a good offense is fueled by a strong defense, a point illustrated by Johnny L. Red as he takes this point from 2 swing-happy enemies. Blow after blow after blow just clang off his Conqueror's shield, and you can just sense that his foes are getting plumb tuckered out, which is bad to do, because then you die. Anytime one faction controls more turf than the other 2 combined, you know something's going right for them. One look at the map in turn 23, and it's clear that the Samurai are working the same kind of magic that led them to victory in round 2. I'm not going to say that Sai Minion used actual magic to turn the tides of what was looking like a pretty fierce 2-on-1 beatdown, but at the end of the video there are 3 dead enemies, 1 alive Sai Minion, and a bunch of black smoke serpents conjured from an eldritch dimension beyond the reach of mortals. So you do the math magic. When the final tally came in, it was the Knights, who stood victorious once again, winning their 2nd round and striding into the lead. Looks like they've got the wind at their backs this season, and the Vikings and Samurai are reaping the whirlwind. Kind of like the 2 Orochi and 1 Warlord that try to take down this Lawbringer in this skirmish match. Believe it or not, it does not work out for those 3. Not one bit. Ha! Ain't that something? 3 rounds down, 2 to go here in Season 2 of the Faction War. Share your clips with us on social or through our official forums for a chance to be featured in the next episode of Watch the War. I'm your host, Chris Waters, and until next time, may the guard breaks be ever in your favor.
We're back.
Hey.
Look who's here, this guy. Hey guys. Funny enough, I thought he was on vacation this week, so I didn't book him for the Warriors Den. He just showed up. I really thought you were on vacation. I'm glad you're here. They're glad you're here. So
that's why it's fucking cold here.
It is really cold. Yeah, I was like, Roman will be here. We can turn up the AC.
Me and Eric are comfortable,
Yes,
but
we've got,
I'm
French
not
guys
sure
are
you're
not.
from Boston. Yes, someone
I'm actually
up
from
north.
Maine. It's true. I'm from Maine, so you're right. It's more north. It's basically Canada.
We mentioned earlier the live update that went up this morning about mostly about the Centurion. Roman, could you tell us a little bit more about this update?
So you also the patch notes. I'm not gonna go back into detail on it, but basically it's a two-step update for the Centurion. There is that first update where we address some bug, make some fix at tracking and things like that, and then we'll with season 3, with the release of season 3. Sorry, we can do it before. We'll address the ganking of 2 Centurion. Basically, every time you pin somebody, it does a slave clip, and so we're doing something where you won't be able to stack those. There will be some diminishing return in it, so it won't affect dueling as a Centurion, and it will diminish his power in a ganking situation. So that takes a little bit more time, so that's why it will be released only with season 3.
Okay.
All right.
But this is a first step. The
Yes.
live update. Cool. Well, we don't just have the live update to talk about. We've got this 12-pound stack of paper called the version 1.09 patch notes. So we're not going to go line by line because that would take 3 hours. But we're going to go through it, yeah?
Yep.
Do you have your copy, David?
Yeah, I've
Okay, just
highlighted
making
what
sure.
I want to speak about.
Okay, just making sure.
I'm prepared.
So why don't you guys lead us through this?
So let's start with some changes made to the fight. So first, in that live update, there is no balancing thing, but there is many other things. So
there are bug
first-
fixes, though. There's
Yeah,
heroes.
there's
lot
some
of
bug
bug
fix
fixes
on heroes, but it's detail. It's like no shadow strike of the shinobi can hit external targets, something like that. I'm not gonna go in detail. You will see them, but it's minor.
Don't worry,
minor
we'll
bug
post
fix.
them. You'll get to see the full.
So revenge. So another 2-part patch. We are revamping currently revenge. So with that patch, we will change a little bit the way you gain revenge. And the next update will be in season 3, where we will change a little bit the revenge state and the properties that it gives.
So this is sort of two-step, almost like our approach to the Centurion. This is a
Yeah.
first step to changing some of the revenge.
So that first step, basically, so you will see there is a lot of changes in the way we calculate revenge. The main thing is previously we only had one formula to calculate revenge, and it was full. So basically, whether it was 2 guys on you or 4 guys on you, it was going at the same speed. So we had to make it go really fast in order for you to survive against 4 guys, but then against 2 guys, it was going too fast, etc.
yeah.
There was also issues where we are dueling, and I kill you, and just after I kill you, Emil shows up, and I'm considering 2v1 situation because the damage that we exchange had a 10-second lifespan. So that's
was
why
too
sometimes
fast.
Emil showed up, I make 1 block and boom, revenge, and you would go like, hey, it's bullshit. I'm dueling you, I attack once, and you go to revenge. What happened? So that was the kind of issue we're having with revenge. So we completely revamped the way we calculate revenge. Now we have different formulas based on 1v1, 1v2, 1v3, 1v4, etc. Even in group fight scenario, like if you're 3v3, you're not considered as being outnumbered, etc. So we did a lot of change on that. So it should be much better. Revenge should not pop, or almost not pop at all in a 1v1 scenario. It should go slower in 1v2 and 1v3. It should go as fast as today in 1v4. So it's an overall big change on revenge.
And you'll see when
To
we
make it
post
for us more controllable, more tunable.
Yeah.
So and we will still
Gives
be
us
able
more
to
levers
adapt.
to pull.
Exactly, and so we'll still be able to adapt it a little bit more in the future.
So when we post the full notes, you'll see it's almost 3 pages of detail about that. So if you have questions, hold off until we
Yes.
post, and then hopefully that answers them. And then if you have
For
questions,
example, damage over time used to make revenge go faster. No, it won't be the case anymore. There's a lot of changes like that.
cool.
But in summary, we can say revenge score after melee has been increased. The multiplier in 1v2, 1v3, and 1v4 is different. Like I said, damage over time does not make revenge go faster. Outgoing attack no longer used to determine the group fight multiplier, and a lot of other bug fix.
Clarification.
Then- yes.
Not different in 1v4.
No.
Right.
Then, with season 3, what we will do is we will change the revenge state, And basically, what we want to do in Revenge State is we want to have the player survive more, especially against crowd control ability. So you will have better crowd control abilities when you're in Revenge. So basically, no, we try to remove, and I think we did, remove all the abuse around Revenge, around cheesing the system and having Revenge go faster, or being almost always in Revenge, or as soon as there's a good fight, everybody is in Revenge, etc. By doing that, we'll be able to make the Revenge State a little bit stronger in terms of the abilities that it gives.
Right.
Not deal more damage in Revenge, but be able to live a little bit longer, especially against CC abilities.
Cool.
That's coming later, I'm sorry.
Yep. Great.
So that was one big thing. The other big thing that we did is we've disabled something that we used to call time snap.
Time snap.
Interesting.
So I'm not going to go into detail of what it was, why we had that. It's an old system that we used to have for almost since the beginning of the project that was still there, and we did not use it that much. Basically, it was something that was based on your network, etc., that was snapping your actions to specific frames.
To synchronize
Okay.
things.
Exactly, to synchronize everybody. But no, we don't need anymore actually that system. But that system was still running. So basically what it did, it was snapping all the actions every 100 milliseconds. So we removed that. So there should not be a dramatic impact on everything. But overall, the game should feel a little bit more reactive, because in some cases, time snap could trigger up to 2 frames of delay, because the frame is 33 milliseconds. So basically, if you did your input just after a time snap moment, then you would have to wait 2 other frames in order to have your action be actually registered. So that's going to improve the.
We shouldn't
the
see a
overall
difference,
reactivity.
and if we see a difference, it should be better.
Exactly.
But I'm sure you'll let
I think
us know.
some players
Oh, yeah,
will
I'm
I'm
sure.
sure you'll let us know what you think.
And basically, when you were lagging a little bit, that was even more visible.
Oh, okay.
So also, when you're in a situation where you have frame rate issue or network issues, that should be a little bit better, because on top of those lag, we were adding that lag. So that's gone.
Right.
Also, we made some changes on the respawn state. So that's the first pass to help with spawn camping.
Yes.
Now, when you respawn, you will be invulnerable to guard break and melee attack for 4 seconds. So no more raider running at you. And
As soon as you pop in, they push you
exactly.
off.
You will be invulnerable to all of those things.
Great.
And it's a first step, while we're still looking at map geometry and maybe other rules.
I still like the idea where you just get killed by arrows if you enter the enemy spawn. I like that idea.
Yes, might come at some point. So that's the bulk of the changes for the fight. And I say on Fighter, there is a lot of small bug fixes. Then another interesting thing on ladders. So we made a couple of changes on ladders. We've disabled stamina regeneration on ladder. And now also when you will hold the B button on Xbox or circle on the PS4 to slide down the ladder, it will force you in that state for 300 milliseconds. And the cost of 25 stamina has been moved from the ladder slide hit to the ladder slide attempt. So even if you are attempting to do it, no, it will cost you 25 stamina. Basically, we've put in place some rule to prevent people from cheesing ladder and preventing people to use those routes or camping inside the ladder, etc.
We've seen all of that.
Oh, yeah.
That should be interesting.
Cool.
We've made some other tweaks that I won't get into detail. Fits. So we are still continuing to balance the fits, looking at how they're used by the players and how much they contribute or not to winning or losing. So some adjustments this week. So first, thick skin. We've added a 3-second cooldown when hit. So Warning, the in-game description has not yet been updated, but that rule will be in. Flesh Wound, same thing. We have added a 3-second cooldown on it. Deadly, same thing. We've added a 3-second cooldown on when you are hitting an enemy. So that's mainly it for the feat. It's those balance, those feat that were always available when you were getting hit or while you were hitting the enemy. No, it's gonna only trigger once every 2 seconds. So if you're spamming the enemy or if you get spam, it's not stacking.
Cool. You get the damage buff on the first hit and then every 3 seconds
exactly.
after. Cool.
That's for deadly.
It's
Right.
my turn now.
Damien's got something to
Maybe
say.
you can continue before the next one.
Yeah, okay, let's do it in order. It's one thing I discussed about, I think a long time ago, two months ago on the stream, maybe 3 months ago. When we split elimination and skirmish from the same playlist, and one of the reasons why we did that is because we had complaints about it, but also because when you were voting for the next map, you weren't really aware that you were changing the game mode.
Ooh.
And so it was creating many issues, and I said that we want to fix that first before rethinking to remerge some game modes, etc. So I'm not saying we're remerging game modes, but at least we've done the fixes on the map vote interface. Now you can clearly see when you are changing a mod as well and not only changing the map.
Cool.
So it's a fix I was waiting for a long time. It's there.
Great.
Another one we're discussing a lot in that Warriors Den.
Yeah.
We were waiting a lot for that one. And you can see it in the public test.
Yes.
But in the public test it's broken. So don't judge it. Don't believe what it's saying, but it's working on the UI side. So basically, we've updated the face-off screen. And we've decided to put more emphasis on what we were using in the matchmaking, so what parameter we were using to matchmake you, and put that on the forefront and have on demand the other info we have today. So it's one of the things we are adding is that now we're displaying your skill compared to your teammates and compared to your opponents. So it's a relative skill. Basically, we're saying, your skill is on par with your teammates, and your skill is slightly lower or lower than your opponents, or slightly higher than your opponents, etc. So you know beforehand.
So it's a little bit granular. It's not just higher. Low.
No, it's relative to your teammates and to your opponents. We don't want it to make to clutter the whole screen with that, but the information we give you is enough so that you know what we did in the matchmaking, and hopefully most of the match you will get will be match where you are on par with your teammates and on par with your opponents. But at least it's an info that you now have. So you will know in advance if your opponents are better than you or lower than you, etc.
Okay.
And one of the other things we're adding is we're displaying the reputation score of the player. So now we display, when you arrive on the face-off, the reputation score of the player. So it's the addition of all the reputation level you've reached with all your heroes, which is also a way so that you know that if you were matchmaked on that or not, or if you were matchmaked later. And it's also really helpful because now on the trigger, on the left trigger, you can display back, so now it's on demand, the hero gear rank and the hero reputation level. So this info is still available, it's just not by default. And so now you can know if somebody has picked their main hero, for example, or if somebody is trying a new hero. Yep. So you will see that, his skill is on par with me, but he's picking a hero he haven't played much. So you won't have sometimes a situation where you see, I'm facing a berserker that is level 1 while I'm reputation 12. Yeah, but maybe that guy is reputation 12 with all his other heroes, and something you weren't aware of. So now you have more information basically, and you will be more prepared, and you will have a better knowledge on who you will face.
Cool.
So yes, can't wait to see the feedbacks on that one. I'm just reading if I missed anything on that one. Yeah, so the skill is something we've said already, but I want to repeat how we calculate the skill. Skill is mostly based on your performance, also a bit if you win or lose the match, but it's your performance that you're doing in a match with a ratio, with a modifier based on if you win or lose the match. And that's how we calculate your skill, something that is running on since the launch, and that's what we use as the biggest parameter in the matchmaking.
Cool.
I think I said it all. The third big update, something we're already speaking about, that we shot a bit too soon.
Yes.
And past warriors then. The colorblind options were there in the next patch.
Colorblind options.
So you will be able to choose between the three different types of colorblindness that are protanopia, deuteranopia, and tritanopia.
Okay.
And it will be applied on the faction war, so the colors of the faction war, on the modes, the UI of the modes, and also the fight UI, of course. So it's not supported in story mode yet. So it's same thing as the V1, but it's the more important areas of the game that are patched right now, where you can select colorblind option. So I know it was a highly requested feature from those people. So we finally have it in the game.
That's
good news.
The team colors, yeah.
Yeah, team colors, team UI, etc.
Great.
Everything in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But not campaign yet.
Sure.
Another one that was requested by the community, in fact, I can't remember where it was. I think it was on the forums or Reddit, I can't remember. So you ask us basically, can we use the other emblems to customize our heroes and not only the main emblem I've selected for my profile. So now on the next patch, you will be able to use the 4 emblems and select different ones for different heroes if you want.
Oh, that's cool.
So you don't have to pick only your main one.
So that means you could use a different emblem for different pieces of the same character's armor, yeah?
You have only one space, emblem space
You
per
need to
hero.
play more the game.
But
What game is this?
I can show
is
you
this
our
NBA
game
Jam?
if you want.
what I'm working on.
But what you can do basically is it's customize emblems, different emblems for different heroes,
awesome.
which is pretty cool. There is another highly requested feature on the customization is the ornaments and the ornaments material. So now the ornaments, all ornaments will adapt their material to the helmet material, which was something highly requested.
And in fact, I just want to tell people it's we don't actually have that in the patch notes that were Damien and I had to track down and double check that it's in there.
Yeah,
So
because
you won't see it in the notes, but it's in there.
it's in there. Yeah.
And it took you 4 months to do it?
Yeah. You know, we have to look for the paint and everything. Takes time.
Yeah, it's a special paint you can only get in specialty stores.
But we're doing an extra thing on that update. So now you will see that some ornaments will take your team color as well.
Okay.
So now some ornaments take not only the material but the team color, and it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Pretty cool.
That is
So
cool.
now the team, the art team, will start playing with that.
Sweet.
What do I have?
This is
else?
a smaller one, but you skipped over it. The option to use neutral color swatches.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's
It's been
Big
requested a lot.
request from the players like,
Oh yes.
why hell I can't use those all neutral colors that look like a defender or attacker color? You were right, and those were coming mostly from the outfits that you were unlocking.
Yeah.
They were only plugged on neutral, where they could also be plugged on attacker and defender color. We've done a pass on those, so now we will have much more colors.
It's not all of them.
It's
but-
not all of them, of course, but you will have more of those to customize your attacker or defender outfits.
Sweet.
Another
What's next?
pretty big update. It's the orders. I think you discussed it a little bit about it with Bio when we were at E3, if I remember. But I will go back to it in detail. So the team worked hard to basically rebalance the orders. We tried to do 3 things. So we looked at the data. And we saw that some orders took more time to be completed, but they were giving more rewards than order that were easier to complete, etc. So we spend a lot of time and we streamline everything, we rebalance everything, all the orders works for their rewards, so that they give rewards based on the effort you put in those and the time they take to be completed. We also redesigned them, so now you have orders with simpler objectives, and that's also easier to be stacked. So now it's easier to stack your order, to do a real strategy, so like to do all those orders at the same time. And also we change how we assign orders to banks, basically. So we have different groups of orders now, easy order, medium order, side order, daily order, etc. So that you don't have a day full of skirmish order, for example, or full of order that you have to do with an assassin, but you don't play assassin and you don't care, etc. So it's we're changing how we distribute basically the order every day, so that there is more variety, they are easier to stack, and the rewards they give is more based on the efforts you put into the game to complete them. So and a caveat from that, so now you will see some orders that will give less steel or less XP, but overall we're giving the same amount of reward, even we're giving a little bit more XP than before, but it's just that we redistributed the rewards. So for example, on the 2 daily orders, the first one, the easiest one, will give you 300 steel and 200 XP, while before it was giving 400 steel and 300 XP. And that order will always be the same. It will be always the same every day. And it's complete 2 match of any game mode. So you can come, you don't have much time to play For Honor today, you complete 2 matches, you win or lose, you don't care, you get your reward, you get your 300 steel and 300 XP.
Cool.
And then the other daily, that is a tiny bit longer to do. So now it's a bank, so you will have different one, and this one is having higher amount of rewards. So we're going from 400 steel to 500 steel, and from 300 XP to 500 XP.
That's cool.
And that's
Sorry,
one
300 XP to 400 XP, if I'm looking at this right.
300 to 400.
Yes.
That's what I said.
You
no?
said 500.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So it's
this
okay.
is why I'm here.
Thank
I'm
you.
just,
Yeah. So I can't read in English. I'm sorry.
This is why you got the English guy here.
So, for example, you could have to execute 3 heroes in any game mode. So, also those they are not related to game mode. So you can do in any game mode you want. They are not related to any hero you have to pick. So you can do them with any hero in any game modes. And they take, so complete 2 matches with 2 different heroes, for example, perform 10 takedowns, things like that.
Great.
And then we have the side orders, and we have banks, so we have easy orders, medium orders, hard orders, and the hardest one take more time to be completed, they give more rewards. The easy ones are easier to be completed, and they give less rewards. I won't go into the full-blown detail, but we rebalanced also the rewards on those, and so I can give you some example. For example, an easy order could be to capture 8 zones in Dominion matches, for example. That's a pretty easy one to do. Win a match of any game mode. No, that's a daily. Perform 12 takedown in elimination with any hero, etc., etc.
What do you have for hard ones?
For hard ones, I have... So hard could be easy to do, but just long. So hard, it's only based on time. It's not only based on challenge. Complete perform 10 executions in any match type. So it's a bit longer. Complete 12 matches as any non-Vorgorn hero. So I know we had a Q&A on that, we'll go back on that. But we have more variety on those now. Complete 15 matches of any type. So this one is easy to do.
15?
15, but it just takes you sometimes.
Yeah, so we had a question from Farherm about, it was a specific, the question is how long?
Week, month, long order someday in the future. For the moment, no, because it's based on the refreshing of the bank. So it's every 2 days or every day, depending on the refresh. So for the moment, we don't plan to have ones that could take weeks or months. But the ones that you have equipped you always keep them, so you can take the whole time you want to complete them. You don't have to do them in the 2 days. They are not cleaned out.
Cool.
So it's still something you can do if you want. The longest orders that we have now are the community orders.
The even orders that we do
exactly,
in the weekends.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we have some new ones on those too. So now we have some. So we will have more variety. It's also a request. Like we always use the same since we launched. So now we have more of those. We have new ones and ones that are not always based on the game mode. So right now it's always based on a game mode. We'll have also ones that are not based on any game mode, which is win matches, complete matches, and stuff like that, which were also requested by the community. I think that's it for the orders.
Did you have questions on the orders, Roman?
Yes, can we go into a little bit more detail?
Then,
This is
What
a
else?
good one. This is a good one.
this is a good one too. Salvage.
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 There was a lot of questions about
Yeah, a
that.
lot of questions.
What do
the
I do with my
fuck, What the
salvage?
fuck?
Yes.
I have way too many salvage. I want to spend those, and so now we're doing an update where you will have even more salvage.
Okay.
Okay.
But you will have also more ways to spend them. So basically, we're merging the free salvage currencies. So you had a salvage for each faction.
Right.
So it means that, let's say I'm playing the Kensei, for example.
As you do.
As I do. Then I want to play another hero that is from another faction, the Valkyrie, for example. I can't use the salvage I got from playing my Kensei to use it to fast track my progression with the Valkyrie. So now it's something you will be able to do. We'll have only one salvage. It's shared per account. So you will have more salvage in the end, but you will have more ways to spend it because you
Shared
can
across
spend
all
it
heroes,
in
right?
any hero, and you don't have to pick a hero from the same faction.
Cool.
So that's the first update that we have regarding salvage. We'll have other ones, but that's the first update we have
Yes,
regarding
I've heard some of
salvage.
your other ideas are pretty cool too.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm not ready to talk about yet.
and that's yours. PS4 Pro.
Ah, PS4 Pro. Cool. Oh, this one is cool. So we have an update for especially for PS4 Pro owners. So now, yes, you have the 4K mode, but you will also have the option to choose to stay in 1080p, but have a boost to the graphical setting.
So more detail.
Yes, more detail,
Great.
cooler.
That's
So more
beautiful.
options for those players.
That's
Exactly.
awesome.
And another actually hardware update we did, it's for PC. We've added the support for the Tobii eye tracking device. So you will be able to use it to have extended view. So specific feature for this player, there will be camera control based on the eye tracking and the head tracking.
Whoa.
That sounds.
Yes,
That's crazy.
For PC.
Yeah.
I want one of those in the office.
that's pretty cool.
That sounds cool.
Oh yeah.
Pretty neat.
Sweet.
So I have a few last ones.
Everyone's like, "Are you serious?"
We told you it's pretty big, and we're not doing all of them.
No, there's more that we're not reading.
We are fixing a bug that wasn't really well tracking the AFK kick in private matches, so in matches where you play alone. So it's something we patch later on because it was affecting less players because you're playing alone, but sometimes where you play with friends, it's still affecting them, etc. So it's a patch we've done. It's not affecting custom match, of course, just for private matches when you use the whole map. But those will be also sensitive to AFK kick. And we did some bug optimization for the stability. So there is one where you should have less session full errors when you try to join a match, where we optimize the game session state, and we've patched that was on Xbox One.
Xbox,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, because I'm reading at the same time.
Yep.
And on Xbox One, we did another change that should improve the stability. And the connectivity is that we've reduced the impact of the Microsoft achievement system that might impact the performance of the players, and then we have less stability, more lag, etc., and more session that crashes. So we don't know at what extent it will improve the stability for Xbox One owners, but it's a pretty big update on that area. So we should have good results on the stability with that patch.
I'm glad you said the word achievement because that made me remember another thing that's not in these patch notes for some reason, but I did find out people with the active duty trophy achievement issue, that is also fixed in this patch. So I know that there's a small, very passionate number of folks out there that have had this trophy issue and they've wanted it fixed, so it's fixed in this update.
Yeah,
so that's the active duty trophy or achievement.
So yeah, regarding stability, etc., it will be always like that. We'll continue doing patches like that, optimizations, to try to improve the state of the game.
Yes.
The team is actively working on this one.
Yeah.
And constantly pushing new updates, sometimes silent one when they are server side, sometimes induced patches.
Something I had to jump in on Reddit this morning that is getting to me is when we do things like the public test, the tournament mode, and the, like, why would you divert your resources from fixing the stability to do things like this? And it's just not. We have a full ass dev team here, like hundreds of people. So as you would expect in a dev team, they have different teams doing different things. We have our fight team, we have our map team, we have our net team. Yes, net team is very focused on stability things, connectivity things. But the designers and the team building tournament mode are not the people that are going to do stability.
And we might use public test to test that. Like public test is a test for the router system. It's also for that. So what I mean by that is that
they love it when you say router. We told him it's router, but he sticks with router.
Router. it's like you should write it OW router. Now I need to think about that, and I will know how to say it. So we're also testing stability stuff for.
I derailed you, didn't I?
In the public test.
I'm sorry.
So routers.
Yeah, the public test is. I mean, that's something maybe we have some questions about, but like this is not a one-off that we're just doing for the dual tournament thing. Like it's a tool that we want to use.
Yeah. We'll use it for many different things. I think the defense meta is one of the big ones incoming that we want to do on the servers, for example.
I've heard about the defensive meta.
For example.
Yes, so that will be a cool thing to do. But that's like we mentioned at the top of the show, this is not just like a, hey, marketing type beta thing. This is really a tool for us to get features tested with you guys and improve them based on your feedback. So we're going to continue to do that, and we'll obviously let you know when we are. But that's cool.
And there's not just 20 people working on the game.
Yes. Like I said, there are literally hundreds. Sometimes I send an email and it goes to hundreds of people, and it makes me very nervous.
And they can't be 100% behind the keyboard trying to fix
the same issue.
Yes, a level designer would not be able to do much to fix that. But that said, we are obviously still working on it.
And like we're saying, every patch there's actually fix or improvements toward that. We're not necessarily vocal every time we make those because it's also difficult to anticipate the type of impact it will have. Sometimes we're like, oh my God, this one is going to be awesome. And actually it's just 0.3% more stability. And we're like, oh shit. So that's why when we think there is a big one, we communicate it, but we not necessarily tell all those type of improvements.
Yeah, if you think you guys are salty now, if we were out here telling you every week, like, this is the one, next week, connectivity is going to be 100%, and then it didn't happen, I was already called Sean Spicer today, by the way, on Reddit. You would literally drive to Montreal and cut my head off. So this is part of the community management, the managing expectations thing. So when we think it's a real good chance of helping, we'll communicate it.
And those are performance issues, so it's not like a bug that we fix. Right. It's a sum of
it would be great if it was a single
things that makes it how it is today, and it's constantly changing. In fact.
So. Oh yeah.
Yes. So I think that leads us into. We have a few questions we're going to do. Q&A.
It was really tight to dodge the punch.
Peace, Jesus. Am I the only man on the battlefield? Never yield to death. I rattle steel, dismantle shield. Hear the crackle of the battle axe. Tackle packs in the gravel backs to the wall. Act or you'll surely.
Because.
It's a pretty easy one.
Yes. So, actually, at the top, I want to say something too. Speaking of salty communities, So Roman was a bit salty last week.
What? No.
I wasn't here, and I was watching it from my. I was doing a work
Your
thing. and I was
remote
like,
location.
whoa, he's gonna punch me when I get back. So to Roman's point, we've done this Q&A section on the show, which we've been doing every week, and we get a lot of the same questions. And to be fair, part of our job is answering the same question multiple times so enough people get the answer. It's not really their job. We want to bring fresh information on the show. So to mitigate that, what we're going to start working on, I can't tell you when it'll be posted, but what we already have a work in progress on is an FAQ that we want to post publicly because you guys are asking a lot of the same questions every week. We want to make a very visible public question and answer so you can come and get the most recent answers of a lot of the really hot burning questions.
The most popular questions.
And to
we'll
be clear,
populate it.
those are not going to be me working with a PR person. It's going to be me working with these guys like we do just on the show to get their answer straight from them, but just put it in a document so you can go look at it. So you don't have to say, oh, where's the defensive meta? Like, we'll have an answer.
And when we have new stuff, we'll be able to update
Exactly.
them there, whether it's timeline or new elements.
Yeah. Because I've also mentioned on the show, like, these are the dudes that are directing the entire game, these hundreds of people working on the game. So to have their time every week for this show is quite a privilege. And to use it to be answering the same questions over and over again does not make a lot of sense for you, for them, for us, for any of it. So that's the idea there. So hopefully you'll get behind that and help me. When you see people asking frequent questions that we already have an answer for, point them to it or answer it yourself. That's how communities should work, hopefully, to disseminate the information. So that said, we do have a few questions that we want to answer this week on the show. By number one from Missa355, when is the public test starting? That's an easy one.
It started already.
It started. We had a
I
slight
get my
delay.
ass kicked. So.
We had a slight delay this morning. We had a bit of an issue a wrinkle to iron out. It took about an hour. So we went live by 10 instead of 9.
Yeah.
But it is live
It's on
now
PC
on
only.
PC.
Yeah, you play on
Yes.
Steam.
Yes.
And that will lead to the next question.
Yes.
Yeah. Luster Solider, I guess that's maybe Luster Soldier.
Luster Solider?
We'll never know. He or
being
she is
solid.
asking, will we see a public test for console?
Yeah, so it's something we couldn't make for the first public test. We wanted to do the public test as soon as possible to get the feedback, etc. It's something we're investigating. I don't know when we will be able to do it, but we want to do it. We value also the feedback of the console players, of course. It's trickier, it's harder to do. It needs validation with the first parties. It's a whole process in itself. So I don't know when we will be able to do that because it's taking time of the same people that are doing the test servers on PC and want to run those regularly to test other things. So
We're figuring it out.
We're figuring out. I don't have more to say that we agree with you. We think it's valuable to do it. We want to do it. I just don't know when we'll be able to.
And I wanted to add on to that because I know a common response is, okay, so what if we could just give console players access to the PC?
It's also something we're investigating.
Yes.
And we think it will be easier and more worth it to directly give access to their console with their account.
The real solution is to do it on console.
Because if we do that,
Yep.
if we say, hey, now you have access also on PC with your account, we can't use your profile, we can't use your progression, we can't use anything. So then it's really
You'd be starting at rep
undervaluing
zero.
the value. You're starting 0. You don't have your stuff. So I won't be. I don't think it's worth doing it that way. And not all console players have a PC where they can play for honor with, where they have the right setup. So I prefer to focus our efforts on making it happen on console too, than the other idea. That was also an idea that we've investigated.
I mean, it's a bit of an unknown too, right? If you're a console player, and yes, I'm positive lots of console players have PCs, but we don't really know the power of your PC. Like, people who have bought the game on PC to play it on PC at least have done their work to make sure they can meet the min specs for the most part. So if we were to give it to console players who maybe don't have the right specs, that could affect the performance for everybody, right? So that's sort of the thinking there. So the real solution, if we can figure it out, do console public tests. So that's what we're working on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Grubs93 wants to know, is it possible to look into Revenge being a little more useful against getting knocked down?
So, like we said at the beginning of the show, yes, we are looking at this one. That will be part of the update of the revenge state going with season 3. We want the revenge state to be better against crowd control, knockdowns, all the stuff. So, but that is coming August.
Cool. Thank you, Roman Campos Oriola. And the last question.
I don't know from who actually, but
Sorry, this is my fault. I
So there are
lost
two
your name,
ones.
friend.
okay. He will probably recognize himself. Are there any plans? Let's say it's from Pascal. Are there any plans to implement the public test past the upcoming rank test as an actual test server in which you can implement balance changes, like, for instance, your upcoming fix to the defensive meta? This will be very beneficial for our community as a whole and will promote communication between devs and community.
Very good reading.
Yeah, and thank you very much.
So
That's
what
an
we've
interesting
said
question.
already.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, of course. It's our first public test,
Yep.
so we're also testing that, the process and everything. But yes, of course, we think it will become a very useful tool for us and for you guys. So we wanna use it as much as we can to test anything that makes sense, basically.
Pascal, why did you erase the last
Why
question?
did you raise the last question? I wanted to
He's
answer
trying to
that one.
direct us, and
Yeah.
he wanted that one to be the last one.
Fuck you, Pascal.
Yeah, everyone in the chat say fuck you, Pascal.
Please, no. Fuck you, Pascal.
So yes, Master Safara wants to know, I will like to know if the devs can add buttons to allow for equipping 4 executions instead of just 2.
So it's something we're investigating. We think it's a great idea. We're working on it. There is some memory challenges to do that because it's adding 2 more execution per hero, but it's also adding 2 more effects on top of that per hero, etc. So it's we're looking at that, more sound, etc., etc. So we have technical challenges to do that, but we'd love that idea too.
Right.
Because we're having more and more content, and so we'd like you to be able to use all of that in a match, or at least more of it. So it's something we're investigating and we'd like to do.
So short answer, yes, no ETA.
Right. Video loss. Oh, we're back.
Oh.
Someone stepped on a cable, I think. Okay, that's all we're going to do for questions now. Like I mentioned, we're going to work on a big FAQ to have a single place you can go to get your questions and answers.
There was also, I don't know, it's a discussion we discussed, and I think we never
usually
discussed
Roman who
that
does
on
this.
the stream. But you know that some games, they display that when your opponents are playing on Wi-Fi because it matters on the connectivity quality. It's not something we do, but it's something I wanted to tell you. Like if you can play with a cable, it's better, much better experience.
Wi-Fi bad.
Oh,
Do
yes.
it. So
Yes.
it's not something. Maybe we should put it in the FAQ or something to
Yeah.
improve your connectivity. But internet cables are way more better than Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Because Wi-Fi then it depends on your quality of routers.
Nice.
Sometimes they are bad. So
Of the what?
so you have a bad Wi-Fi. It's capped, so you have a bad Wi-Fi connection. So it's not. So you're not using the whole bandwidth that you have for your internet, but you're using only a small subset of that because of your router and your Wi-Fi connection. So it's a big deal.
Yes.
Wi-Fi is a big deal. So if you can play with a cable, it's better. If you can have a better router, it's better also.
Maybe that's obvious to a lot of you, but I'm
Yeah, I think
certain
it
it's
was-
not obvious
yeah,
to
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Especially console players where it's so easy to just connect wirelessly.
Yeah.
It's,
And PS4 where you don't have 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection.
So all of that.
Good point,
matter.
Damien. Good point.
yes. Now I'm really going to transition us.
No.
So yes, there's your questions and answers. And now it's community corner time. This is sort of to come down from all that heavy information and enjoy some of the stuff you guys have been putting out there. As I mentioned before, we do videos for this. There's a ton of great images and fan art and cosplay stuff that's happening every week too, and we try to represent that on our website. We do a weekly blog post in conjunction with our weekly stream called This Week in For Honor. So we're not forgetting you people who do great fan art. So go there. It's just forhonorgame.com. It's usually the latest news. So that's where our static creations come. But this is all videos and GIFs. So in fact, I want to kick off the first one because this broke me. It's so funny. We might play it a couple times. This is by YouTube user Nate the Man 223. Shigoki bot kills himself. The best is in the video.
We did this.
You can hear him going. Watch what he does. You can hear him screaming.
A bot suicide.
Why did he do that?
I think he was too afraid of the player.
Kills me.
They have
Was
feelings.
he trying to do it?
Bots have feelings too.
It's a really powerful AI.
No, in the video you can hear him. He goes, ah!
Okay.
It's so good. It's so good.
Second one now. This is called How to Bait a Samurai, and it's submitted by Reddit user KinoBix.
And this is a GIF, so we
This is a
can
GIF, yeah.
talk over it if we want. Oh man, this one.
Oh, pretty beautiful GIF.
Yeah. Yeah, GIF quality these days has come up. Oh, so good.
It's a trap.
And there we go.
Oh.
So I think we'll play it one more time. If you didn't get the exact moment by moment. Looking like he's just hanging out. I don't know why that guy...
It was a bit of
Yeah.
Make sure that nobody hidden behind.
And this was great because this was on Reddit and someone responded to this baiting GIF with their own baiting GIF. This is How to Bait a Centurion by Drakon Leierhaas. This one is less epic, but still pretty good.
That's nice.
It's really nice.
It's pretty good.
Pretty nice.
Yes.
Really nice.
From the same user, actually.
Yes.
It's called 10 out of 10. Good job, guys. You guard break. Again, by Drakon Leierhaas.
It's just... I love it. He just comes around the corner. Should I help? No. No. These guys have got to
They
go.
have a moment together. They have something.
Okay, this one actually, again, we won't have the benefit in the room because we don't have sound, but this is by Reddit user Tiff92, who's actually one of our moderators on the subreddit, and just proud of this guy because he keeps doing good creations. With
Pretty
video.
active Twitter user as well.
Good on Twitter. 28 Faints Later. It uses the soundtrack from 28 Days Later. This one's a video. It's a couple minutes long, so let's dive in.
happened?
No.
Wait, what was the end? What happened at the end? We'll never know how it ends.
That was a nice one.
That was good. Good job, Tiff. I'm a huge fan of the 28 Days Later.
We
movie.
need sound.
Yeah, me too.
I know, we don't have
sound.
sound in the room, so we
frustrating.
lose a lot of the effect here, but there's one final video.
Yes, it's called Against the Odds 3v1 with revives, and it's submitted by Reddit user Hell Euphoria.
Hell Euphoria.
Hell Euphoria.
Yeah, this is a good one too.
Wow.
That one is pretty good.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Pretty honorable, can say.
Kensei's honorable, as
Honorable
Damien is very
Kensei.
proud of his
Yeah.
fellow
Yeah.
Kensei.
Yeah.
As does Ramon pointed out, it's a good thing we made the revive change, that you get a single revive, or that match could still be going on now, for all we know.
Yeah.
So that was great. Hell Euphoria, good job. So we're pretty much at the end of the show. We want to do some
Yeah.
shout-outs.
Sure. Let's say first shout out to Stash. Oh, on this camera. Thanks to Stash from France actually for doing surveys with the community and sending the results back to us. It's really appreciated. So big shout out to you, my Stash.
We didn't actually cut to that camera.
I know.
Just fucking with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the survey, Stash. That was super cool. As we've mentioned before, the For Honor Discord, our Reddit mods, Tiff, one of them. The competitive, For Honor competitive subreddit is super great too if you're looking to bone up on how to get better at the game.
That's true.
All the creators and artists who are making stuff, like we've showcased here. And Ramon had a shout out as well.
Yeah, to Sophie Face, Aizari, and Cypher PK for contacting me directly with some fight exploits and not having them public. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, guys.
Nice. Now, I know everyone's waiting for the raffle. There's one last thing. In fact, Emile has an announcement to make.
I have a big announcement, guys.
Maybe now we'll use this camera.
I don't trust you.
I don't trust them either.
So yeah, now I'm back, so I can look into your souls, guys. I have to announce with a little bit of sadness that it was my my last stream on For Honor. Unfortunately, I've been transitioning to a new role and responsibilities for. So kind. Yeah, I've been transitioning for since a few weeks to a new role and responsibilities. I will still work at Ubisoft Montreal. I will still work on some community content, but a little bit more in the shadows. And yeah, I wanted to say thank you to you guys for your support. I've been on this game for almost 4 years. It's been an incredible ride. I have a lot of great memories. Meeting you all in person was great at E3, at PAX, at Gamescom, or even here at the community workshops. So it was incredible to meet you guys. And yeah, so thanks for your support. Thanks to the team as well. You guys are in good hands. These guys are awesome. The team here, as Eric said in the past, that was cringe. There's still a lot of people working on this game, so don't give up. And yeah, thanks for your support, guys. We'll see you on the battleground, or I may pop here and there on the chat during this stream or on Reddit. And yeah, thanks again, guys.
Thank you for your work.
Bring it back to the main
so
camera.
much.
Bring it back.
Thank
yes,
you.
thank you, Emile. Yeah, so I joined as some of you know, just not even a year and a half ago, and
A little bit more
so
than
he'd
a
already done a lot of the groundwork for me to jump in and start working with the community as well. So thank you for all your hard work over the years.
You're welcome.
And in fact, we've got a special video. First of all, if people in the chat could give a little thank you to Emile, I think that would be appreciated. And,
Thank you, Emile.
Yes. Yes, thank you,
Thanks,
Emile.
guys.
And
Thanks, Damien.
Fred, you can hit the raffle once we start rolling this video. And thank you, Emile, again.
C'est bon, ok, j'ai compris, Emile. C'est bon.
on repasse ça.
C'est bon.
Adieu, mon amour. It's time for me to go to a place called somewhere. I dumped the car in the river. I burned down the house. I told your little sister that I did some crazy things with her little hamster.